Now that I know he knows who's Skip and Shane, maybe, just maybe.
Oh, he watched. Oh,
I also have his back. Just for the record, Tom, I got you. We're going to move on because that was great. The Bears saw the opportunity.
Conclusion, because they go to the 2 pro days and they start sitting down with the North Dakota State coaches and they realize that this kid did everything for them. They gave him full responsibility to set the protection at the line of scrimmage, to audible at the line of scrimmage. Right. They put him under center about half the time, which we don't see college quarterbacks under center.
In Kyle's offense, you up under center. You don't just use shotgun. You up under center a lot.
And they found him to be a play fake master. What do? What is the essence of their offense? It's misdirection play fakes. Where they catch you off guard with their run game and they just run you out of the stadium. Is that not right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, can he not run the football? He is a gifted runner of the football.
Right.
I'm not saying he's Michael Vick or Lamar in speed, but he's a 4.5, so it's plenty fast enough. And he has very easy sort of pickup speed. He can hit top speed very quickly.
Right.
He's got a bigger arm than Mac Jones. He's a much bigger man than Mac Jones.
Yes.
He's much stronger in the pocket than Mac Jones. And in the end, Belichick sat at 15, and I'll give him props for that because he didn't spend anything to go up for Justin Fields, as there are many runaway reports about. But he took, to me, the poor man's Tom Brady. And I underline poor man's because right now, Bill Belichick is a poor man when it comes to his roster. Last week, Pro Football Focus ranked their roster 20th. Well, it's in large part because he's been such a terrible drafter of talent that it has gone down, down, down until the cupboard got bare and they spent in free agency and tried to beef up what was left of their roster. And he did some nice things with the roster. He overspent for everybody, but they were desperate. And now they're desperate to have the next Tom Brady. And I feel sorry for Mac Jones. And I do think he's a tough kid because it was he chose to go to Alabama when they did have Tua and they did have Jalen Hurts. And obviously he just stepped right in and said, I can do this.
Right.
So I don't think he'll be overwhelmed by the pressure, but all of a sudden the spotlight is going to go off cam onto Mac Jones because Patriot Nation is going to say, we finally got our Brady.
Correct.
And remember, Brady's got everybody back next year in Tampa, so the pressure's only going to ratchet up on Mac Jones and Bill Belichick to live up to Tom Brady in New England, right?
Yep.
Okay, so in the end, this is what I love the most. We had Trey on yesterday.
Right.
But he's a film junkie. His father was a cornerback who played in the Canadian League and also the Canadian Football League and the World League at London Monarchs. And he taught him well, and he instilled in him an extremely strong work ethic. But this kid has the highest football IQ of any of these 5 quarterbacks. Again, huge talent, big mind, lots of mental responsibility, chip on shoulder because the University of Minnesota, where he dreamed of playing, rejected him as a quarterback and said, no, you can play safety or linebacker.
Right.
Okay, so now he goes to North Dakota State with the biggest chip on his shoulder of any of the 5 quarterbacks. And his #1 priority is breaking down tape of NFL games and ball security. What kid have you ever seen come out of college with ball security in his head as, this is my #1 priority?
Right.
It's the essence of winning championships is ball security, right?
You
just cannot turn the football over. So what does he do in his first year of starting for North Dakota State, which is the perennial, power in that FCS? He goes 28 touchdowns to 0 interceptions, and they go 16-0 and win the national championship. You can't underestimate that, even though it's lower class competition. I get all that.
But even that lower class competition, Skip, the thing that you look for when you see a guy at that level and he's playing lower competition, does he dominate? Not is he just getting by, does he dominate? He dominated, as you mentioned, the 28 touchdowns, the 1,100 yards rushing, the undefeated season, the national, because that's a lot of, Skip, when you go there, they're the Alabama of the FCS.
They are. That's correct.
That's what they are. They're the Alabama of the FCS. And so he was filling in for a guy that just went #2 overall in Carson Wentz.
You don't think there was some pressure in 2019?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes.
So in the end, I believe Mac Jones will be only as good as the talent around him.
Right.
And he had obviously great talent around him because they had the 2nd most first-round picks last night of anybody in the history of the draft.
Yeah, they tied with the Canes in 2004-06.
Right? Okay. And they could have had more, actually.
Barmore slipped into
I was surprised. I actually thought Tampa might take him with 32.
I did, too.
Didn't.
That's what I was thinking.
Took that kid Tryon, who opted out at Washington last year, but he can rush the passer. So the point is, I've read this to you before once, and I'm going to do it again, but Lance Zierlein I have highest respect for because he breaks down these draft profiles for NFL.com, and he wrote about Mac Jones. While the production looks great, he has clearly benefited from the wealth of riches up front, in the backfield, and at wide receiver. Well, I think we all agree with that.
Right.
He has a tendency to play with some panic when pressure gets after him, and he could struggle when things aren't optimal around him. Jones has good backup to low-end starter potential. Well, that's how I saw him. He was sensational last year because he was surrounded by sensational. So, again, when Trey Lance grows up, he will be able to lead and lift a team to the highest level. I believe that Mac Jones will never be more than a product of what you put around him. And he will get the most out of what you put around him. But when you go up a level to pro football, he's going to have a harder time.
But that's what you do with young quarterbacks, Skip. What do? What did they do with Dak? They went and got him Amari Cooper. They gave him C.D. Lamb. They gave him Micah Gallup. What you do with young quarterbacks is that you surround them with talent. You see what they try to do with golf. You see what they try to do. That's what they're doing. What they're doing now, Skip, is that it's just not... Only Tom Brady, for the longest time, could do more with less. And even Tom, as he started to age, what did he say? Even I can't do anything with this. Let me get my butt down to Tampa. Get with Mike Evans. Get with Chris Godwin, Cameron Brate.
The truth is, that's all you need to know about what happened to Belichick. And again, his reputation as a drafter is pretty pathetic.
No, he's not that good at that. Skip.
Okay.
Let's
his
be all the way
owner,
real.
a couple of weeks ago, called him out and said, the only reason we spent like we spent in free agency is because we have drafted poorly. He said that. So there was some hot seat going on under Belichick last night. Then he made some smug comment after the draft about, I missed those mock drafts, like I didn't pay any attention to them. Well, maybe he should have paid some attention to the mock drafts, right? So was I surprised that Mac Jones fell to 15? Not at all, because if it hadn't been reported that the Shanahans were interested in him at 3, I don't think anybody would have supposed that anybody would be interested until Belichick or maybe the Bears.
Well, we knew that we had a strong suspicion, Skip, that if it didn't go to Kyle at 3, he was going to probably be there for Coach Belichick at 15. Because nobody, no one else seemed to was in the market for a quarterback. Now the Bears, I think the Bears surprised some people moving up from 20 to 11 to get Justin Fields. So, but I don't think anybody thought all those guys basically 4 to 14, somebody in that range was going to get a quarterback. So Coach Belichick's like, And once he didn't go at 3, Coach Belichick says, I'm not moving. He's gonna be right there. He's gonna be right there when we pick.
Okay, so a story was reported yesterday that shocked me, that Kyle Shanahan and Belichick are do not invite him, that they're no longer close.
What happened?
There's some animosity. I don't know, that they fell apart. I don't know why.